How you doing?
My man. Thank you for coming and doing an interview with me. So this is Ron Gardner. He is with the band
Jelly Roll?
Jelly Roll. So tell me about this. You did not just show up and one day start running sound on a board. What got you into sound? What got you really excited about?
Like most of us, failed musician. Played in bands, got tired of my band sounding terrible.
Yeah.
So I made friends with the best sound guy I could find and had him teach me why he was better than everybody else. And then he went on tour and I took over at the club, and a couple months later I got picked up.
So that was what got you into doing sound in general?
Yeah, it got me to drop out of college, give up some scholarships.
So tell me a little bit about how you got with Jelly Roll. I'm sure you didn't just go from running sound to Jelly Roll. I'm sure there was some sort of transition in between there somewhere. How'd you get with
Well,
this guy?
I've actually been touring for about 20 years. Started with a band called Under Oath.
Yeah.
Did a band called Paramore. From there, I went to The Pretty Reckless with Taylor Momsen, and I did Sleeping with Sirens, The Used, Taking Back Sunday here and there, just filling for a bunch of other bands along the way. And then COVID happened, and Jelly's business manager called me and was like, "Hey, I've got this artist coming out," and it was the first opportunity to tour since COVID, so I was like, absolutely.
Was it a tough transition going from rock to country? Was that pretty easy for you?
Well, you know, he's not typical country.
No, he's not.
It's, in fact, he's got some rap as well in there, so he's kind of he touches a lot of different genres, and he likes to bring a rock flavor to it all, so it's a lot of fun. I get to mix some instruments I didn't used to get to mix, like banjo, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So walk me through your setup process. Obviously everything's here set up, and I know you've got some great teams behind you that help out with it, but this is, you said this is your first day on this run.
Yes.
I know it's a little bit different than the rest of the days, but what was your setup process for this run?
Well, I'm spoiled. I have a great system tech named Brendan Hines from Sound Image, and my setup process is walking out here and it's ready. So that's cheat code. But no, they fly the PA. We take that with us. We have a matching set of S6Ls on both sides of the snake. Great boards. Robert Scoville did a great job.
Well, I see, speaking of the board, you got an S6L. Did you start off in an S6L? Have you always been an avid guy? Why the S6L?
Well, I actually started analog.
Okay.
Back in the day. I miss analog a lot.
Yep.
But when it comes to digital, I like the workflow of the Avid stuff. Midas sounds cool. Don't like their effects that much for digital. And the patch bay is annoying as hell. And then Digico, it feels like a PC. Yeah. But I don't know, I like the sound of the S6Ls. And yeah, I think they're superior to most consoles.
Awesome. So I see a bunch of screens here. I got a laptop over here, and you've got, I'm assuming, is it Waves or
No, I'm
Smart?
I'm not using any Waves.
No Waves.
We normally have a Smart rig up. I do use some plugins. I've got. I just loaded the Soothe stuff. It's the new Soothe plugin. I've heard it's great. I haven't played with it yet, so that will be to come. But I use a little bit of McDSP. That stuff is great, and then the Crane Song Phoenix stuff is really awesome as well. But other than that, we keep it pretty basic. I don't like to use too many plugins. I think plugins should be used as sparkle. You have to have the mix sounding right first.
I see you have some actual physical hardware out here. What are we rocking?
I've got an Avalon 747 into a Portico, and that's my left and right chain. And then I've got the Avalon 737 into a distressor into a Manley Vox box as my vocal chain.
Okay. Now, what got you down to these ones? Is this just comfort, or have you tried a bunch of other ones that you're
I've been using the Avalon on vocals for years. I started back in the analog days with Paramore. That was on Haley's vocal, and I really love the warmth of the 32K boost in the EQ section there. It's a very warm air. The distressors always sound good, and I've heard great things about the Manley, and we threw that in, and I like that as well. So Why not?
Sound check, line check. So you walk out here, white glove, everything's ready to go, or do you do much of the sound check or the line check for it, or?
I tip, my system tech will do a line check so I know everything's working, and then when I get the call, I come out and take a quick listen. But most of the way that I look at mixing, everything changes once the crowd is here. So spending a lot of time making it sound perfect to an empty arena is, in my opinion, kind of wasteful, because it all changes with bodies and temperature. You know, like today it's probably 100 degrees.
Yeah.
It's going to drop at least 10 or 20 degrees by 9 o'clock tonight when the sun's down, hopefully.
Well, you're also a man of many hats too. You're also tour managing this gig.
Yeah.
How does that work with running sound? Is that pretty difficult? Are you able to switch those on and off pretty easily? Is this your first time doing the tour manager gig, or?
Oh no, I've tour managed other bands before,
Okay.
but for me, it's two completely separate worlds. When I'm out here mixing, it's my creative art side, and for the rest of the day, I'm in logic and logical thinking and problem solving mode, and it keeps me out of trouble, to be honest. I think I'd be bored if I just did the sound.
Well, I know we talked about earlier in your office about COVID, and there was a shift from COVID with a lot of the OGs leaving, and there's a lot of young guns out there. What advice would you give to the younger kids that want to be sitting here on an S6 running sound for someone like Jelly Roll? What advice would you give to yourself starting off?
Well, the biggest advice, keep an open mind, find engineers that you like the way they sound, and go watch what they do. Most of the guys in our industry are super nice. It's a small industry. Most of them are willing to share, knowledge. When I was coming up, I learned a lot from Frank Scamalone and Pete Kepler and some of the older guys. They saw what I was doing and made suggestions or suggested new plugins or new gear or new techniques or new mics. And if you keep an open mind and you're friendly, and you can go a long way.
So what do you see as the future of audio? I know we talked a little bit about AI and about a bunch of new stuff coming down the line. Are you worried that AI might take over this job and maybe the future, log into ChatGPT and all of a sudden starts running the soundboard? What's your thoughts with it?
I don't think so. Everyone was worried when we went from digital to analog to digital.
Yeah.
And does analog still sound better? Yeah, but can you do a lot more with digital? And now you can do hybrid. You have analog pieces with digital.
Yeah.
AI might just make things quicker. It might help engineers that are weak in certain areas. Like, I've always thought it would be cool to make a microphone that had a trigger built into it with automatic gate settings for engineers that at the club level back in the day couldn't afford the proper gates or didn't know how to use them properly. So the mic was a smart mic, and it would slow, medium, quick release, and depending on what band they were mixing, they could have it set, and it would all be done from a trigger. Nobody developed it, and maybe it's not possible, but it was something that was twirling in my mind. And now you have, the potential smart consoles coming out that'll be able to detect it's a kick drum and float in an EQ that's typical for a kick drum. And it's still, I think music is art and art is human. And yes, computers can do art, but especially with AI now, but there's something about a human touch that they'll never be able to replicate.
Well, I see that you have your beautiful girlfriend here with you. One thing I want to ask about, and it's not talked about a lot, is relationships on the road and maintaining a work and life balance. Do you find it hard to maintain a work and life balance with being on the road all the time? How do you have a succcessful relationship? What advice do you give to the people maybe struggling with that?
Buy her a pretty house. No, no, she's great. In the past, I seem to have a 3-year curse. So the first year, the relationship is excited. Oh, we get to go backstage, we get to travel, this is cool. Second year, traveling's not as ideal. And then by the third year, it's like, I'll see you when you get home.
Yeah.
But, if you meet the right person, they'll respect you and support you just like you respect and support them in their careers. So
let me ask you this. What gets you out of bed, out of the bunk every day to keep pushing through with this? What motivates you to keep? I know some days are like today, it's 96 degrees and really humid, and it's just, sometimes it sucks.
That's the best job in the world.
Yeah.
You never work a day in your life if you love what you do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like, I could have easily gone to school and sat behind a desk my entire life. But I think I'd be miserable.
Do you have any tips or any secret sauce that you use that you put your little sprinkle of Ron in it that you'd be willing to share?
Parallel compression.
Okay, explain. First
Well,
up, explain to people who may not know what is parallel compression.
So, parallel compression, I think, can be pulled off in a lot of different ways. The way I do it is I take some channels, and I won't get too detailed, but you group those channels and squash the hell out of them, and then you also, in parallel, send them to left and right, less compressed. So you get dynamics, but you also get a level of consistency. And when you mix the two right, if you're around tonight, you'll hear in the drums.
I'll be here.
I get asked at a lot of festivals what samples we use. We're not using samples.
No samples.
Not at all.
Clicks?
What's that?
Click?
Well, click for their ears,
Yep.
but as far as the drum sounds,
Sure.
it's all natural, just parallel compressed.
Any on the bass or just drums?
I do it on the bass, I do it on the toms, the kick and snare together, actually, to keep them in the pocket.
Awesome.
All stereo, so.
Okay.
What else? I do a little parallel compression on the vocals sometimes, too.
Okay. If people want to get a hold of you or see you or follow you, where can they, are you on social media?
I'm pretty terrible at social media, but RPG Sound.
Okay.
It's my email at Gmail. It's also all of my socials are RPG Sound.
Okay.
Ron Gardner on Facebook. Look at these guys. That's what I should be doing.
Well, man, I know you're a busy guy. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. I really appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the show, man.
Absolutely. We'll come out tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yep.